Hello everyone, Britton here, also known as Smoky Dude, and today I am back with a new video, and I am going to be covering China Mieville's The Scar, which is his quasi-sequel slash spin-off of his previous novel in the same universe, Perdido Street Station, which I gave a very glowing review for about a few weeks back. You can go check that out if you want. I decided to cover The Scar because I covered Perdido Street Station, and there's not a lot of reviews of The Scar out there, so I decided, why not? And, yeah, so I'm going to be covering The Scar today. I bet you're wondering where I was on Monday, and if you didn't see my Discord, which I'll link down below if you want to check it out, I am going to not post on Mondays anymore. I'm just really busy those days, and in all honesty, I've just grown tired of trying to juggle all of that stuff on Monday, so I've decided not to make any videos on Monday anymore. For right now, at least. Maybe that'll change in the future, but for right now, I am not going to be doing any more videos on Monday. So I'm just sticking to Wednesdays and Fridays. And the book, like I said, I'm going to be covering today is The Scar. Now, after reading Perdido Street Station, there is one thing that I realized after reading it. I wanted more of this world. And there are two whole books that are also set in the Bas-Lag universe. And the one that came out after Perdido Street Station is The Scar. And aside from a couple of references to the first book, this book is basically a standalone story. If you wanted to start with The Scar, you definitely could. Though I personally read Perdido Street Station first and read it in chronological order. And I would recommend you guys do the same. But if you do want to read The Scar first, that's fine. You can totally do that. But after reading Perdido Street Station, and encountering the world of New Crobazon, I wanted to see what China Mieville had cooked up next in this world. And I am happy to say that The Scar did not disappoint. This is another book that is very heavy on the world building, much more character focused, which I'll get to in a minute, and creates yet another dazzling, whimsical, but also dirty, grimy, sometimes horrifying setting of Armada. And I really enjoyed Armada. It actually seems like a better place to live in than New Crobazon. New Crobazon just sounds like an awful place to live in, despite the fact that I really enjoyed the setting and being in it. But ironically enough, much like Bellis, who is the main character in this story, I grew to miss New Crobazon. I really enjoyed that setting, but that doesn't mean that Armada is any less well-built and immersive, and Mieville wastes little time in making this world feel real, and I really enjoyed that aspect of The Scar. But this story is much more character-based than it was on the world, and not to say that Perdido Street Station wasn't, but you can definitely tell in Perdido Street Station that China Mieville was definitely saying, hey guys, check out this cool fantasy city I made up. In The Scar, there's a bit of that too, but certainly he has toned down the descriptions of... There was one chapter in Perdido Street Station that drove me up the wall. They take this gigantic pipe all the way to the city. It's very tedious. There's none of that in The Scar. But the setting is just as alive and rich and filled with character and personality as Perdido Street Station was. But like I said, this is a much more character-driven story. There's a lot of different characters in it, like Bellis, who is a linguist. She's pretty much the main protagonist of the story. Uther Dull, who is this mysterious mercenary, also a scholar, who might know more than he's letting on. The Brooklock, who is a vampire, though it's not really the vampires that you know of. He doesn't sparkle, so if you're worried about that, he doesn't sparkle. He's a regular vampire. But I was particularly touched by the story of Tanner Sack, who is one of the remade people. And if you don't know what that is, in Perdido Street Station, it's explained it's a horrific punishment that is used to punish crimes that have been conducted in New Crobazon. And Tanner Sack was a victim of this horrific practice. He has two tentacles that come out of his chest. But his story actually proved to be really touching, and especially his interactions with the young boy known as Shekel. Their story is probably one of my favorite parts of the Scar. I really enjoyed that dynamic, and it was quite touching and even really heart-wrenching, especially by the end of the book. I won't go into what happens next. But despite its focus on character, this book is no less as well built and well constructed as Perdido Street Station was. Excuse me, kitty. I'm just gonna put you down. And actually, some of my favorite parts of this book that weren't the Tanner and Shekel bits is when they end up going to this place where they have mosquito people. Freaking mosquito people. It's insane, and it's quite frightening when you read this. I won't go too much into it, but it's completely insane. But I really enjoyed that part of the book. I also really enjoyed the intrigue of this book. There's a lot of political maneuvering. There's a lot of manipulation going on. We even meet a guy called Silas, who is basically like a spy. Again, won't spoil exactly what happens, but there is a lot of stuff that happens in this book, and it definitely warrants its 600-plus page length. But another one of my favorite parts of the book is when they try to get this creature, and they use their magic, also called thaumaturgy, or I think that's how it's pronounced, I'm not entirely sure, to try and get this creature to pull them past, to take them to the titular Scar. It certainly has the gusto that I loved from Perdido Street Station, and the gusto that I know that China Mieville is capable of. Now, I bet you're wondering, since this is basically in the same universe as Perdido Street Station, which book did you like more? Well, I will say this, while I enjoyed the Scar quite a bit, I did like Perdido Street Station more. I thought it was far more adventurous in its scope and how it wants to explore the city. I like how Perdido Street Station has fun with itself as you're reading the story. And the Scar doesn't quite have that. But what it does have is very lasting characters, a great story that takes place on a large canvas, and there is also a nautical battle in this that is fucking awesome. And I don't want to spoil it, but there is a sea battle, and it is fucking amazing. Another one of my favorite parts of the book. But like I said, I thought Perdido Street Station was more adventurous in scope, and I really liked how it felt like China Mieville was just stacking on itself. He was challenging himself, it felt like. In the Scar, it feels more contained. The wild imagination is still there. It is not going to go away, but it certainly felt more controlled than it did in Perdido Street Station. But don't get me wrong, but the Scar, funnily enough, this book has actually stayed with me long after it was over, which I thought was interesting, and I texted a friend of mine who has also read this book, and I've just mentioned, I think about this book a lot, even after it's over, much like with Perdido Street Station. I may not be in love with it as much as I am with, in love with the Scar as I am with Perdido Street Station, but I definitely do think about it a lot, and it's definitely a book that will stay with me long after I am done reading it, and it has stuck with me for a long time, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I really like the world of Armada. I would love to see more, and, you know, China Mieville, as the best fantasists do, he just makes me want more. I am greedy for more Bas-Lag stuff, but apparently China Mieville is not doing any at the moment, which makes me kind of sad, but I would love to see more in the Bas-Lag universe. And the Scar is a fantastic addition to the world of the Bas-Lag series. And I really enjoyed the world of Armada. I enjoyed all the characters, Bellis, Tanner, Shekel, Uther Dahl, the lovers, who are the really creepy leaders of Armada, the Brooklock, the Mosquito people, Silas, just so many different people who just felt alive off the page, and I don't think I'll be forgetting them anytime soon. And China Mieville has done it again, and this, like, the Bas-Lag series really proved to me his talent. Like, I read The City in the City before I read the Bas-Lag stuff, and I thought it was fine. Like, that's actually a book I'd like to read again. But yeah, this Perdido Street Station and The Scar are definitely the books that sold me that this guy is the real freaking deal. But yeah, I enjoyed The Scar. I thought this was a fantastic book, and I don't think I'll be forgetting this book anytime soon. Not unlike how I felt about Perdido Street Station. Though again, I did like Perdido Street Station more. Hello, kitty. You know. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been a review of The Scar. I hope I managed to justify my enjoyment of this book in over 11 minutes, but we'll see. But yes, check this book out. Give it a look-see. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoy seeing Jerry walk across my desk. Can you not? Can you not, please? Hey, no. Anyway, take care, everyone.